What's up, everybody? It's me, Anthony, and it's the time of the week again. It's Anthony's NFL Picks. Week 3. We are now in the third week of the NFL, and this season already feels weird going into 3 weeks already, and I say that every season, but this season is just shocking all of a sudden. I cannot believe it was week 1 like 2 weeks ago, and now we're here. So, it's going quick. And last week, I had a bit of a slump. I go from 14-2 on week 1, dropping at 10-6 at week 2, which is still really good, though. And my overall record, I'm still 24-8. I don't have 10 losses anymore, which is great. Great start I've ever had. And before we start, just like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells to get updated on my newest content. But anyways, enough with the intro. Let's get things started. And kicking things off for starting Thursday night off for an AFC East matchup, we have the 0-2 Dolphins and the 2-0 Bills. The Dolphins are here after losing to New England last week, 33-27. Miami looks super bad. Tua is just threw an interception. He just doesn't look really good. I think Mike McDaniel will get fired possibly in October. That is my prediction. I think Mike McDaniel is done. I think Chris Grier is going to get fired too. That whole Dolphins team is just super bad. And they're taking on Buffalo in Buffalo. And the Bills are here after just completely storming over the Jets 30-10. Josh Allen is looking really good. He had a little bit of an injury. That's okay. But at the very end of the day, I'm going with Buffalo 100%. Bills will beat the Dolphins 33-21. Buffalo will continue to be undefeated at 3-0. The Dolphins drop the 0-3. We're moving on with our next game, and here are the 1 p.m. games. Starting things off for 1 p.m., we got a battle of the backups between the undefeated 2-0 Bengals and the 1-1 Vikings. The Bengals are here after beating. They won. They beat the Bengals. They look really bad right now. I got to talk about them. Even though they beat the Jaguars 31-27, Joe Burrow is out for at least 3 months with a bad toe injury. And Jake Browning is now backing up. And just as I was recording this, the Vikings got Desmond Ridder from the Bengals. And he's going to be starting over Carson Wentz because J.J. McCarthy's hurt again with an ankle injury. And this is in Minnesota, by the way. This is all battle of the backups. It's a matchup of all time. Jake Browning and Desmond Ridder. Whoop-de-doo. To be honest, I'm going to go with the Vikings, though, because the Vikings are at home. They have a better advantage. They got Justin Jefferson, They got Aaron Jones. I don't know if Aaron Jones is healthy, though. But they got Jordan Addison as well. They got Hawkinson. They got Jordan Mason, who they got from the Niners last year. So I think the Vikings will win this game. It's in Minnesota, so I think Minnesota's going to win this. And they're also coming back from a loss against the Falcons, getting blown out 22-6. And J.J. McCarthy threw for 2 interceptions. He threw for 2 of them. He looked really bad. And again, I'm kind of won't want to call him a Christian Ponder 2.0, but it's currently his rookie year, kind of, even though he's in his second year because he didn't play his whole rookie year due to the torn meniscus. But I'm going to go with Minnesota over this win. I think they're going to win and beat Cincinnati. I'm going to go with them. Vikings will defeat the Bengals 27-20. The Vikings will be 2-1. The Bengals will also be 2-1. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an AFC South matchup between the 0-2 Texans and the 1-1 Jaguars. Texans are here after losing yesterday in that close matchup against the Buccaneers, 20-19. They were winning at the very last second, and then the Buccaneers got that last second touchdown and made the Texans go 0-2, which is not looking good for C.J. Stroud. He really needs to get back, and however, they're in Jacksonville for this game against the 1-1 Jaguars, who played very well. They played super competitive against the Bengals, I have to admit. To be honest, the Texans need this win really badly because they are 0-2. They lost week 1 against the Rams. They lost yesterday against the Buccaneers. So they need this win over Jacksonville. And I think Jacksonville could win this game, but there's a possibility that Houston will win this one. So I'm going to say safe because the Texans need it. I'm going with Houston on this one. Texans will beat the Jaguars 24-19. Texans will be 1-2. The Jaguars will also be 1-2. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got another AFC South matchup, back-to-back division battles. We got the undefeated, somehow shocking 2-0 Colts with Danny Derps playing well against the 0-2 Titans. Daniel Jones did really well against the Broncos on Sunday, even though they should have lost that game, but the flag made the kick go through. They got another chance, and then the Colts somehow beat the Broncos 29-28. They're 2-0 surprisingly, and that's shocking. They're going on to Tennessee against the 0-2 Titans, who almost beat the Rams. They were up at halftime. Cam Ward looks really promising, however, but a lot of people say he looks like Will Levis, though, but it's already like 2 weeks in. It's already the third week, and it's already his third game ever. He's a rookie, Cam Ward. So we got to see what he does, but I'm going to have to go to Indianapolis on this one. The Colts look like a really good team somehow. I think the ghost of Jim Irsay is rubbing on them. I don't know, but I'm going to go with the Colts. Colts will defeat the Titans 17-14. The Colts will go on to be 3-0 undefeated. The Titans will drop to 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a battle between siblings. My brother, David, and his Raiders, both at 1-1, taking on my Commanders, who are also 1-1. The battle of the brothers, the Villano brothers. Me, David, and Anthony. David the Raider, Anthony the Commander. Jaden Daniels. I got to talk about him. Both teams are coming from losses. The Raiders are here after getting blown out by the Chargers 20-9. Geno Smith threw for 3 interceptions against the Chargers. He looks super bad. And my dad was talking about him writing the script. He's like, oh yeah, he doesn't have much weapons he did in Seattle. Like, yes, he does. He has Brock Bowers. He has Ashton Genty. The Raiders looked really good against the Patriots, but yesterday, the Chargers are a good team, though, so I'll give them a little pass for that, though. However, for my Commanders, we lost against the Packers. Mr. Variety, rub it in my face. I don't really care. There was no way we were going to win that game. Micah Parsons is insane. However, Jaden Daniels, he is questionable with an ankle injury he suffered in the Packers game, and Austin Eckler is done for the season with a torn Achilles. I'm going to go with the Commanders, praying to God Jaden Daniels plays because I'm really hoping that he does because, it's my brother's team. So I'm going to go with Washington on this one. Washington will beat Vegas, hopefully, 19-16. The Commanders will be 2-1. The Raiders will drop to 1-2. We're moving on with the next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 2024 NFC Divisional Round rematch between the undefeated teams, the 2-0 Rams and the 2-0 Eagles. Rams, they're here. They look really well, the Rams. They played very well against Tennessee, even though they were a bit of struggling. They still won the game 33-19. Matthew Stafford, I thought he was old, but Puka Nacua is amazing. And Devontae Adams played very good against Tennessee. And, they were down, but they came back and won the game. However, they're going to Philadelphia against the defending Super Bowl champions, the Eagles, after they knocked out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 59 rematch, 20-17. I'm going with Philadelphia. Even though the Eagles don't really have defense, they still did very well. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia on this one. I don't know if they're going to go back to the Super Bowl, but I think the Eagles will win this one. Eagles will defeat the Rams 34-29. The Eagles will drop to be 3-0. Rams will drop to 2-1. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got an NFC South matchup. It's a good one. It's between the 1-1 Falcons and the 0-2 Panthers. Falcons are here after completely massacring the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, 22-6. Michael Penix looked really amazing out there. Now they're going to be away in Carolina, again on the road, this time to Carolina, taking on the division rival Panthers, who are 0-2 after losing to the Cardinals. They almost came back and beat Arizona 27-22. Bryce Young, he looks okay. I don't want to call him a bust, though, because, again, the Panthers are just very bad. But to be honest, I'm going to go with the Falcons on this one. I'm thinking the Falcons are going to win and beat the Panthers. Falcons will beat the Panthers 30-13. The Falcons will go on to be 2-1. The Panthers will drop be 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 1-1 Steelers and the 1-1 Patriots. Steelers are here after completely losing to the Seahawks 31-17. Sam Darnold played very well, and they played in Pittsburgh. They upset the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and I chose Pittsburgh. However, they're going against the Patriots in Foxborough, who came back and beat Miami 33-27, mainly because the Dolphins suck. But the Patriots look very promising. The Steelers, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do because I think he's going to retire after this. I think they're going to get a quarterback in the draft in 2026. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, but I sometimes realize that the Patriots always seem to beat the Steelers. I don't know why. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Hopefully things will change because this is going to be, hopefully will be a good selection. I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one because the Steelers are a little bit better. The Patriots, they're a work in progress. Mike Vrabel, we don't know how he's going to do. He did very good against the Dolphins on Sunday, so we're going to see what's going to happen. Steelers will beat the Patriots 25-22. Steelers will be 2-1. The Patriots will be 1-2. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the undefeated 2-0 Packers taking on the 0-2 Browns. The Packers are here after they completely beat my Commanders, unfortunately, on Thursday Night Football, 27-18. Micah Parsons had one hell of a game, I'll tell you that right now. Micah Parsons is amazing. The Packers are an amazing team. I think they could make the Super Bowl, possibly. I'm not going to say they're going to. However, they're the Eagles, and pretty much the Eagles because, the NFC is not really that competitive because the Eagles are like the only good team. Hopefully my Commanders will be good. Who knows? But the Packers look great. The Lions, not quite sure because the Lions kind of, struggled that game, but we'll get to them later. And there's going to be a good game later. So I think they're going to beat Cleveland. The Browns are 0-2. They got completely annihilated by the Ravens. Joe Flacco threw an interception. He looked super terrible. Dillon Gabriel had to start at the very end of the game. I think that the Browns are going to lose again. I know it's at home, but Green Bay is so far the better team. So much superior, so much better. Green Bay off to this one. Packers will defeat the Browns 35-10. Packers will be 3-0, remaining undefeated. The Browns will drop the 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got the 0-2 Jets and the undefeated 2-0 Buccaneers. The Jets are here after completely losing to Buffalo 30-10. They did not look great like they did in Week 1 against the Steelers. They were very competitive, and then they jet themselves against the Bills at home, and now they're going to be away in Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers, who came back and beat the Texans barely 20-19. I think I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this one because the Jets are super bad. Like, Justin Fields was evaluated for a concussion, so who knows? So I'm going to have to go with the Buccaneers either way because the Buccaneers are so much of a better team. They're at home. They look super good. The Jets continue to jet themselves. They're just the Jets. Until anything changes, I'm going with Tampa Bay. Buccaneers will defeat the Jets 37-19. The Buccaneers will be 3-0. The Jets will be 0-3. We're moving on with our next games. And speaking of our next games, here are our 4 o'clock games. And we have 4 of them this time. Not 3, but 4. So we're starting things off with an AFC West matchup between the 1-1 Broncos and the 2-0 Chargers. Broncos are here after losing that controversial game against the Colts 29-28. Bo Nix did not look great on Sunday either way. Threw for an interception, but he's still a really good quarterback. And again, they had a very easy schedule last year. And this is a bit of a challenge now. They're going on to LA against the Chargers, who defeated the Raiders yesterday 20-9. Justin Herbert looks really good. Amari Hampton, the rookie, looks really good. Keenan Allen is back. He played very well as well. Ladd McConkey. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. They are a very good team. They have to stay consistent. They have to stay strong. I'm going to have to go with them. It's at home. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but I'm going to go with LA at the very end of the day. Chargers will defeat the Broncos 36-31. The Chargers will remain undefeated at 3-0. The Broncos will drop to be 1-2. We're moving on to the next game. And coming up at our next game, we got the 0-2 Saints and the 1-1 Seahawks. Saints are here after losing to the 49ers 26-21, playing a very competitive game. They played very strong against the 49ers, however, couldn't really hang on that well. Spencer Rattler, he's doing all right. I think the Saints need to start in Tyler Shaw. Who knows? But they're taking on the Seahawks, who completely won over the Steelers, which is good. I like the Seahawks. I got to see how Sam Darnold does. You got to see how he did great in Minnesota. Maybe he could do something in Seattle. But I'm going to go with Seattle at the very end of the day. Seahawks will defeat the Saints 26-14. Seahawks will be 3-0. Not 3-0, 2-1. Saints will be 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we got a pretty okay game. We got the 1-1 Cowboys and the 0-2 Bears. Cowboys are here after winning that crazy overtime thrill against the Giants, 40-37. They were playing very well somehow, and I was shocked. And I chose the Cowboys. I thought that was going to be wrong, but then, the Giants proceeded to choke, and then Dallas won the game. Brendan Aubrey is an amazing kicker, I have to admit. However, they're going to Soldier Field against the Bears, who got completely steamrolled by Detroit, 52-21. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. The Bears are super bad. Either way, even when the Bears tried their best, they always seem to just fail. And I'm going to go with Dallas because of this. Cowboys will defeat the Bears 28-7. Cowboys will be 2-1. The Bears will drop to 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. Coming up at our next game, we have an NFC West matchup between the undefeated teams, battle of the undefeated. Ooh, boy. The 2-0 Cardinals and the 2-0 Niners. Cardinals are here after almost choking against the Panthers. They hung on still, despite what happened. However, they're going against the Niners at Levi Stadium, who are banged up with injuries. Mac Jones will probably be starting, and because of that, I'm going to have to go with Arizona. Very close game, though. The 49ers, they played great despite Mac Jones starting. over Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy's hurt, Juan Jennings is hurt, George Kittle is hurt. Everyone's hurt on the Niners except Christian McCaffrey somehow because that guy's always seemed to get hurt. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one. The Cardinals will defeat the 49ers 23-21. Cardinals remain undefeated at 3-0. The 49ers will drop, be 2-1. We're moving on with our next game. And coming up next for Sunday Night Football, we got Battle of the Winless somehow. We got the shockingly 0-2 Chiefs taking on the 0-2 Giants. The Chiefs are here after losing to the Eagles 20-17 in that Super Bowl rematch, and I chose Kansas City because I thought they were going to be home. However, they're going to be in MetLife Stadium against the Giants, who completely lost that crazy overtime thrill against Dallas. Russell Wilson still looks like a really good quarterback. You know, he played very well. He did better against lost against the Commanders week 1. But I'm going to go with Kansas City. Kansas City really needs that desperate win. They need to emerge victorious. It's a must. The Chiefs are 0-2. The Super Bowl hangover is getting to them. I'm going to have to go with Kansas City on this one. The Chiefs will defeat the Giants 33-25. The Chiefs are going to be 1-2. The Giants will be 0-3. We're moving on with our next game. And last but not least for this week, we have a Monday night matchup, and this is going to be a really good matchup. It's the battle between the 1-win and 1-loss teams, the Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. Lions are here after completely just annihilating. Both teams come back from big wins. Lions are here after completely poaching those Bears 52-21. They look a lot better, and they lost against the Packers week 1. I know that, though, but they think they could pull off a win. However, the Ravens look a little bit better. They beat the Browns, but again, the Browns are the Browns, and the Bears are the Bears. So I'm going to go with the Ravens because the Ravens are at home. They have a better advantage. They have a home field advantage, so I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one. Ravens will defeat the Lions 41-38. The Ravens will be 2-1. The Lions will drop to 1-2. And that is it for this week, everybody. These are all my NFL picks for this week. Tune in next week for Anthony's NFL picks, week 4, which will be premiering next Tuesday, September 23rd. This is Anthony signing off, and have a great weekend.